the Raikuzaichi Auction Arc, the second major arc within Kagurabachi's manga, and after reviewing this arc in preparation for this video, I'm debating if this arc is or isn't the best arc in the entire manga. Now I will say other arcs such as the later Kyoto Hotel Bloodshed arc and the even much shorter Sword Bearer Assassination arc are also really good reads, and they introduce like cool characters and just bring a lot to the story, and it's just an enjoyable read and amazing art. I just think there's something special about the Raikuzaichi arc, it being the second arc coming right after the Sojo arc, which, like I said in my last video, is just a taste, kind of small seeing of a small snowball rolling into a bigger snowball. I feel like the Raikuzaichi is the point, at least in my experience in reading Kagurabachi, where I feel like when you get to the end of this arc at chapter 44, I feel like you really take a step back, and this is the arc where you like realize, okay, I see what Takeru Hokozona is like cooking. I can see the vision with this manga, and I can see the potential that it has. And that's what I want to talk about today. I just want to talk about the Raikuzaichi arc, and let's yap about it and have a little review about that, because I think it's very special. From characters like Hakuri, Hiyuki, Kyora, to even seeing Chihiro pull out the broken Kure Gumo and just using new applications of his abilities, and just amazing character developments and just great characters all around. It's just an arc that completely changes the trajectory of where Kagurabachi, when I got to the end at chapter 44, where I felt like Kagurabachi was going. And let's just talk about it. Let's yap about it. So the Raikuzaichi arc covers chapters 19 through 44, but this arc is pretty long, so I'm gonna break this arc review into two parts, and in this video we're just going to cover chapters 19 through 29. So let's just talk about it. There's no real method to the madness. We kind of just go over some key points in the arc, talk about things I liked, some cool moments. But yeah, thank you for tuning into the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss another upload on Kagurabachi and other manga and anime that I plan to bring to the channel. But without further ado, let's get right into it. The Raikuzaichi Auction Arc. So in this arc, Chihiro's main goal is to retrieve one of the enchanted blades that's being put up for auction. But this isn't just any enchanted blade, it's the strongest enchanted blade that his father Kunishige Rokuhira ever created, known as the Shinuchi, translated to the masterpiece. But its official name, having the N10 Kure Gumo, now we are introduced to the Magatsumi, which is the blade's actual name, but throughout the arc it's just referred to as the Shinuchi or the masterpiece. So the Hishaku gave Sojo Kure Gumo, but they put the Magatsumi up for auction and used Sojo's name. So Chihiro aims to pay the auction a visit and retrieve the blade. The arc actually opens up with a brand new character called Hakuri Sazanami, which in my opinion, I love this guy. He is a great addition to the cast, and I feel like, for the anime watchers, I feel like you're either going to love him off the beginning, or you're going to not really like him but grow to like him as you continue through the arc. And I just think he's a good addition to the cast. Although yes, he is a pissy boy, bitch boy in the beginning, as I said, I feel like you kind of grow to like him, and by the time you get to the end of the arc, man, he shows his aura. He shows that he's got the potential to have some aura on him. But yeah, he's genuinely that guy. But yeah, a little bit about Hakuri. Hakuri Sazanami is a member of a powerful clan known as the Sazanami family, which actually for 2 centuries hosted the Raikuzaichi auction. The auction itself sells off people, corpses, black market weapons and items, and most importantly this year, the Shinuchi. Its influence brings together all the criminal underworld of Japan. Hakuri himself was exiled from his clan due to being basically a nobody, lame-ass scrub who has no spiritual energy and just can't manifest sorcery. Think of him as basically the Toji of the what was the name of his clan? The Zenin clan. He's just basically the outcast. He has no spiritual energy and he just can't do shit. So yeah, fuck off, get out of here. You're not part of the clan anymore. You're a bum. Yeah. So basically that's Hakuri. And yeah, and within the Sazanami family, sorcerers are basically they're brought up from a young age. If you're born into the Sazanami clan at a young age, you're trained to learn sorcery, study combat in order to be able to grow and become, you know, a member of their fighting class and basically, you know, protect and uphold the Raikuzaichi at all costs. That is basically the motto of the Sazanami. Just protect the Raikuzaichi at all costs, even if it means your life. Live by that shit 10 toes down. You know, to death do us part. You know, they're locked in, basically. Hakuri was exiled from his clan, but he doesn't support the Raikuzaichi at all. He actually thinks it's a loathsome event and it needs to be eradicated because it's caused many harm to people who are being auctioned, and it just brings, you know, it's a place that brings together all of the scumbags and underworld criminals of Japan, and it's just not a good thing, and it's been going on for far too long, so Hakuri wishes to destroy it. Shortly after being introduced to Hakuri, we're actually introduced to another character who, in my opinion, is one of my favorite characters that was introduced in this arc, besides Hakuri, of course, and her name is Hiyuki Kagiri, an agent sent from the Kabunabi, and she's one of Japan's strongest assets. Her weapon is the Flame Bone of the Starving. Although we don't know much about it yet, it seems to be, as of now, like a giant gauntlet of flaming bone, like a skeletal, you know, kind of hand gauntlet that is similar in power to that of an enchanted blade. Although I have a theory that Flame Bone's true potential is that much like, you know, Sasuke and Itachi Susanoo, particularly in its like first, you know, form, it's like skeletal form. I feel like Flame Bone is kind of like that, where Hiyuki can command as much of Flame Bone as she wishes in different parts. We see her use ribs and the hand, so I think she can conjure up some of it or all of it. You know, we haven't seen much of it yet, but that is my theory on the Flame Bone. And she is basically, her character, to sum it up, is go big or go home. I'm here for all the smoke. And she just immediately, she just introduces herself to Chihiro. I'm here to take you down. Let's get this shit. And absolutely just blitzes Chihiro and just comes straight for him, full throttle. She's been tasked with finding Chihiro and retrieving not only the Enten, but the auction Shinichi as well. And their fight is just amazing. They're just so many cool panels, just fire and flame and swords and aura, and it's just a great fight. After their battle, Hiyuki and her partner Tafuku head back to the Kamunabi headquarters to brief about the mission. It seems right now the Kamunabi and Hishaku are in a deadlock. What's going on is when Kinishige was killed, the Hishaku stole the enchanted blades. So they wield the swords, but the Japanese government, the Kamunabi, wield the sword bearers, those who are contracted and are linked to the blades and can use their abilities. Trying to get the sword by force and knowing the nature of the Sazanami, you know, their ride or die, we would protect the Raikuzaichi by any means necessary. It would only cause war, which would just cause casualties on both sides, which the Kamunabi doesn't want. Right after this point in the story, we're introduced to the main antagonist of the arc, named Kyora Sazanami. He's the head of the Sazanami clan as well as the lead auctioneer within the Raikuzaichi. He has but one goal, like I've stated before: serve and protect the Raikuzaichi by any means necessary. And throughout the arc, we'll see that he stands by these words wholeheartedly. He is willing to do anything to make sure that the Raikuzaichi proceeds. He says proceed. probably a good 20 times, maybe 30 times. I might be stretching it at 30, maybe like 15 times during this whole arc. He stands on business. But Kyora is a very interesting character as he commands what's called the storehouse. It's like a pocket dimension, like somewhere that exists outside of here. It's just some sort of other dimension, just outside of just reality itself, I guess, where all the auction items as well as the Shinichi are kept. This is Kyora's sorcery, and it's been passed down from head to head of the Sazanami clan for generations, all linking back to the first head of the clan. He's confronted by Chihiro, who aims to get the sword back. Of course, Kyora refuses. He's also unaffected by Chihiro's threats, as he states being in control of the storehouse. If he's killed, all of the registered items within the subspace will also cease to exist. If this is true, it puts Chihiro and Shiba in a bad spot, so Shiba suggests withdrawing, only to be interrupted and confronted by the Toe. Now, the Toe is the Sazanami's elite squad of sorcerers, and they made their entrance in an amazing panel. They just kind of pull up. It's just this awesome panel spread of them hitting the classic group anime pose, and it's pretty cool as they confront Chihiro in battle. It is awesome. They are able to, it's a great fight. The Iso, which is basically an attack that expels an intense concentration of force at its target, sending them miles away. We also get to see this storehouse subspace and how it works. We see Kyora summon items registered within the subspace and then bring them to the Toe members so that they are able to fight and go up against Chihiro. We see a bunch of cool, scenes of, the bubbly, kind of effect, and then the weapon kind of appears. One of the Toe members grabs it and they just go head up and just go, box up with Chihiro, and it's super cool. Just before the battle against the Toe, Mr. Shiba receives a call, and then we're introduced to Hakuri's older brother, Soya Sazanami, another member of the Toe, or the final member of the Toe. When the Toe is initially introduced, they're stated to be the 4 strongest members of the Sazanami, but during that first initial spread of them, there's only 3 of them. And I mean, they're all siblings. All members of the Toe are Hakuri's siblings, but the oldest of them is Soya Sazanami, and he is the other member of the Toe, who runs into Hakuri as he's searching for his little brother. And Hakuri immediately, as soon as he sees his older brother, as soon as he sees his older brother, he just books it and he jumps right off a ledge, as he'd rather die than spend another second with his brother. At first, as a reader, this comes off pretty extreme. Like, dude, he just immediately tries to jump off, just no hesitation. And although Soya comes off as a caring and concerning older brother, he is far from it. And we get to see quickly why Hakuri would rather much jump off a bridge and fucking die, basically. For lack of a better word, Soya is absolutely demented. He's crazy. He's controlling and disgustingly abusive towards Hakuri, so much to the point that he'd kill anyone who he deems isn't fit to be in Hakuri's life, whether Hakuri agreed with it or not. He even threatens to kill Hinao, who sort of kind of just pops up out of nowhere, asks if Hakuri is okay, and he kind of just sees her and just proclaims that he's gonna kill her because she's no good for you, basically. And from then, just before Soya is able to attack and harm Hinao, Shiba teleports and just puts belt to ass on Soya. He just hits him with a rock in the face and just teleports him, and we get this amazing spread of them two just, in the air above the whole city of Tokyo. It's really cool art by Hokuzono. I really enjoyed that. Was probably like one of the moments where I was like, oh, that's like, you know, made me like, you know, hype up a little, you know, and it was really cool. During their fight, Shiba takes this opportunity to analyze Soya's fighting prowess and he decides that he is the strongest of the Toe, so it's probably best to teleport them back to the area where Chihiro is currently fighting the other members of the Toe. After he does that and he teleports them back, Kyora Sazanami, through teleporting back to the battle with Chihiro and the other members of the Toe, Kyora is able to discern that it was actually Hakuri who led them to their house and, you know, just the Sazanami estate in the first place. So he transfers Hakuri to him, and he goes on to explain that everyone who is born into the Sazanami family is registered to the storehouse, so he can transfer them to his location at any moment he pleases, at, you know, whenever he wants. He plans to kill Hakuri, explaining his uselessness being born into the Sazanami clan and not being able to achieve sorcery. Initially, Kyora banished Hakuri as a slight of benevolence, but after learning his son was an informant, although Kyora doesn't want to kill his son and shows at least he has some humanity. Like I said before, his devotion to the Raikuzaichi and to protect it by all costs leaves him no choice. However, Chihiro values Hakuri a lot. Throughout their, you know, since they've met in this arc, they've kind of developed sort of like a friendship and, you know, they kind of partnership. They need one another. So Chihiro offers up his Enten in exchange for Hakuri's life. However, Chihiro has a plan. He plans to forfeit his Enten in order to get more information on how the nature of the storehouse Kyora mentioned works. Being contracted to the blade and thereby having his spirit energy linked to the Enten, Chihiro is able to focus his consciousness on the blade itself and use the goldfish that are manifested by his energy whenever he uses the blade as extensions of himself, kind of like an arm or a leg. And I personally thought this was really cool, how Chihiro was able, and we've seen this before, him be able to like use the goldfish. Like, we always see scenes of kind of the goldfish first before we see Chihiro, and him explaining that and kind of mentioning that in that moment kind of makes it click. Like, oh, so he was probably using surveillance before he went in and attacked. And I think that's really cool thing that he can do. Like, he's able to just like, as long as Enten's within a certain distance, he can kind of just hone in on the blade itself, and he can just kind of just summon that goldfish that is conjured by his spirit energy and kind of use it as just kind of like eyes and ears, and kind of just survey and look at what's going on before he actually makes his move, which was really cool. But from there, the 208th Raikuzaichi auction takes place, not only with the Shinichi but also the Enten being up for auction. Chihiro, like the goat he is, walks right into the auction and saves a kid named Mr. Unazumi, who's there to save his older sister who is being held up for auction. Chihiro proceeds to then use the broken Kuegumo to fight all the Yakuza henchmen who are tasked with protecting the auction, and it is so cool. The way Hokuzono just blacks out the whole page and you just see Chihiro just reach for the Kuegumo. He just says, May. It's so left field, you don't even see it coming. Because at first when he walks in, he's like, he doesn't even have a weapon, so what is he gonna do? And then he just pulls out Kuegumo, and it's just one of those hype moments within the arc, and it's just awesome. So Chihiro continues to fight more Yakuza henchmen before being pursued by more elite soldiers. And then, just when you thought it was already hype, Hiyuki comes in to protect Chihiro. She just busts through the fucking wall, and she's just like, what's good? And just starts going crazy. And the two of them drilling through the goons is just awesome. I can't wait to see those scenes get animated. I'm curious to how just Side Games is gonna animate that. I just know if they do it justice, it's gonna look amazing. Hiyuki also makes it clear that although right now she is protecting you, She still intends to kill Chihiro once the Shinichi is retrieved, and also take the Enten once that happens, as well as allow the auction to proceed to its conclusion. Although Hiyuki disagrees with the auction itself, as well as the Kabunabi higher-ups' decision to go through and participate in the auction, it's the best choice that they have. The circumstances with this whole deadlock between the Kabunabi and the Hishaku and the Raikuzaichi and the Shinichi being up for auction, and now the Enten's up for auction, and now we have to protect Chihiro, has just got Hiyuki so irked and so just annoyed and just basically fucked up about the whole situation that we basically just see her crash out, and she basically just says like, screw it, I'm just gonna fucking kill everyone, Chihiro, the Kabunabi, the Raikuzaichi, the Hishaku, and low-key myself too. Like, that's basically just how I perceive that little, like, one panel of her just kind of looking up and just crashing out with blood on her face. Just like, I'll fucking kill everyone, basically. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end part 1 of this arc review right here. I just want to go over about maybe just half of the arc, and then we'll do the other half for the next video where we'll cover chapters 30 through 44. And yeah, this arc is just it's just a great arc. We're halfway through it. I'm super hyped. I'm hyped talking about it. I just rereading this arc, I'm just seeing, this arc was pretty good. Like, it was pretty good. The other arcs, I will say, like I said in the beginning, they are amazing. I don't know, maybe when I go and review those arcs again and go reread them, who knows, my opinion might change. But this arc, after rereading it probably is one of the better arcs. It probably is one of the best ones that, like, the whole series has to offer. And I can definitely see the anime watchers maybe proclaiming this arc being like the point where they got locked in on Kagurabachi, and it's probably their favorite arc. But that's where I'm going to end the video here. We're just going to go over half of the arc, chapters 19 through 29, and we'll go over the next half in the next video. But thank you for getting this far. If you have gotten this far and you've made it to the end of the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and give me your comments on what you think of this arc. Who is your favorite character that was introduced within this arc? What was your best moment of the arc? Let's have some conversation. I would love to read your guys' comments. I want to, have some conversation. I would love your input. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.